is the perfect time of year to get into some Christmas movies. I don't really do Christmas like that, but a Diva's Christmas Carol, I can get into it. Hi you guys, welcome back to my channel. It's Tyra here with another struggle review, here to discuss A Diva's Christmas Carol. Now this movie is from 2000 and it stars Vanessa L. Now before we get into all things Ebenezer Scrooge, I need you guys to drop down and subscribe to my channel and like this video. I'm going to give you guys a moment to do that, and then we're going to come back and discuss. Y'all remember when VH1 was producing and playing their movies non-stop to the point that we knew all the words in every song? A Diva's Christmas Carol was one of those movies.
Go back.
Now that you guys have hopefully subscribed to see more of me, let's get into this movie. But before we jump into the film, I have to give a shout out to the person who paid for it in the price of this movie. So if you happen to have a Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year, it's not because of me, it's because of this person right here. Thank you so much for supporting me and paying for this content. Now, getting into the movie, the writer, the producer, the director isn't really all that important because this is based on A Christmas Tale that's as old as time by Charles Dickens. That 1843 old-fashioned Christmas tale that has been remade and parodied a billion times at this point. We have a greedy, mean, surly, stingy Ebenezer Scrooge who could care less about Christmas transform into a kind, caring, loving person after a visit from three ghosts. Ghosts of Christmas past, present, and future. And it's actually amazing that this story has been retold and remade so many times, but regardless of how many times you've seen it and how many forms you've seen it, the message is still strong and it comes across. And that's whether it's theater, live action, or animation. And you always tend to look forward to seeing just how this new adaptation is going to be different from the last. This one is about a diva, which I love, and is so befitting for the time of this being, you know, the really super duper early 2000s. This was also when VH1 was hosting Divas Live, and you had all of these iconic legendary singers come together and perform. What a great time. This is also when the term actually meant something. Immensely talented, often a triple threat, longevity, perseverance, iconic, classy, with an attitude because you know you worked hard for everything you have. So if I decide I only want green M&Ms, I only want, Fiji water catty-cornered to the right side of the room facing left, I only want the temperature in my dressing room set to a permanent 74 because it helps the tempo of my voice, you get that shit done. Like, I miss that, and I miss that term. And to think about it now, we really don't have any more divas. They are really just like dying off. By the time Beyonce made Diva, like, she's the last of the last, like a whole dying breed. But what do we expect? People can't even sing anymore. Now, there is really no need to pretend or really dive into this role as a diva because the lead actress here is actually the personification of a throwback old school diva, Miss Vanessa L. Let's get into her. Legendary, absolutely beautiful. Even the first crowned Black Miss America, even though they abruptly tried to take that shit back, I could care less. Even the perseverance through that whole scandal, just to say, you know what, I don't care and I don't need that. I'm gonna have a career and make a staple for myself regardless of that. The acting, Soul Food, Hoodlum, Eraser, Dance With Me, just to name a few. And let's not forget, Homegirl had albums. Don't be acting like Miss Vanessa did not have hits. She has literally dipped her toe in every single facet of entertainment, giving her all of this longevity, giving her a space to, at any point in time, in any decade, past the 80s, You saw this woman, and we still see her now. And that's whether she's a desperate housewife, whether she's on Ugly Betty, she's hosting an event, and that's when she wasn't giving us ballads. You know, we were painting with all the colors of the wind. Like, we're not gonna act like she didn't have a lovely voice, like this whole pop crossover appeal, like she was the moment when she was the moment. If you weren't painting all the colors of the wind and all that good stuff, you weren't saving the best for last, you weren't dreaming. I wasn't too much into the ballads. I was a comfort zone girl myself. There's no need to find or compromise or settle for another outside of my love. The thing to do, then when you get through, I'll heed the message, seek the comfort of my zone. Oh, we ain't gonna act like, nah, hey, we're not gonna act like she didn't have the right stuff, okay? Now let's get to the movie. I got work to do. Now, to start off here, we can't even bypass Ebony Scrooge giving us those early Wilhelmina Slater teas. Like, I love her portrayal of Wilhelmina, and you can totally see it here finessing in this role. But Ebony put the ass in Diva. She is totally a Grinch here. She is rude, loud, disrespectful, cheap. She's selfish, a superstar with endless demands, an abundance of attitudes, and never ends or begins a sentence with a please or a thank you. She has no plans to change for anybody, not even on a sacred holiday such as Christmas, wanting everybody from her team to her backup dancers to production to put their plans on hold to work on Christmas Day so she can make a mass profit at a concert that's for charity, but really not, because she's a greedy little woman. Every single person surrounding Ebony is completely miserable and hates her. The only person who seems to have a little unwavering faith in her for whatever reason is Bob, her road manager. But she could care less. She is selfish, she is detached, and she needs some help. Vanessa Williams plays this role to a T. I really, I love the movie, but I also dislike the fact that this is, a made-for-TV type of film. So the production isn't, all that up to par. The effects can be a little wonky, as well as the acting from mostly unknowns here. It really gives you Hallmark movie, and I can't stand a goddamn Hallmark movie to save my life. Like, ugh! But outside of that, Vanessa L. Williams here, you can totally see why she would go on to be a Wilhelmina Slater, or just, drive home those arrogant, diva, bitchy, Devil Wears Prada ass characters, because it is all here. She delivers a really great performance, and I really just feel like she should have been in more movies. But Ebony seems to treat everybody with such a cold demeanor, and that's from everybody that she works with, down to her manager Bob, who is estranged from his wife and his sick child that she's the godmother to, that she could care less about, all the way to really her only living relative who is trying to reach out to her niece. But Ebony has every intention of spending yet another Christmas alone, being the cheap, grumpy savage that she is. That is until we have Ghost visit her in the middle of the night to remind her of where she's going wrong, who she's becoming, who she's hurting, and what Christmas is all about now, and what it could be for her in the future. And that's from the likes of Chilli from TLC and Kathy Griffin. Now, what this movie does get right, and what I feel like is the most memorable thing about it, is this song called Heartquake. Like, I had not watched this movie in so many years, but when the song played, I knew every single word and I was vibing. You can't be serious, must be some mistake. Ow, am I delirious, or do I feel a heartquake? This is critical, how much can I take? Ow, it's so electrical, I know that it's a heartquake. Love was a stranger, ow, never at my door. I was like, what? I still know this song. It's just amazing to go back and watch these movies and just remember what sticks with you. And it just reminds you of such a nostalgic time when you did get up and look forward to watching this movie. VH1 used to wear this movie out. It was like so hard for me to find anything on this movie, gather photos for this movie, to just go and watch the movie at all. It's like it's almost scrubbed off the internet. which is crazy because it's like, why is this movie not out there? Why can't I go and pull this up on a streaming service? It's a Christmas movie. But the first person to visit her from her past is Marley, portrayed here by Chilli. Like, let's not even get into Chilli always looking like it's fucking 1995. Like, I don't know what she's doing, but share it with the world, girl. But she is here to remind her of where she went wrong, and if you don't savage what's left of your life and change, you are gonna end up like me. Their whole relationship is very much giving, you know, Diana Ross and the Supremes. She always wanted to be the center of attention, you know, pushed her band members to the back, at which we had them kind of fall by the wayside, and Marley went a completely different way. She died, but her hell is watching her just ruin her life from below, and she just wants so badly for her friend to change so she can pass on and, you know, break these chains. You know, get the shackles off my feet so I can dance. But I can't do that if you are up here forever being a bitter Betty. I also really love this banter and the jokes that we get here in the movie. For this to be a made-for-TV situation, the way that we have Ebony just be so nonchalant and oblivious to everything going on around her, and she just has, you know, that infamous Scrooge form of mind. Like, we have all of these crazy things happening in this hotel room, people repeatedly showing up, and she's just like, yeah, where's my room service? Like, that just bravado that she has about herself as a character, the back and forth banter that she has early on with my favorite ghost that gets there, Kathy Griffin. It is just such a good time. Like, ew, why are you here? I need you to come with me, but you're so annoying. Like it's that Gucci. Like, I love that we replace all of the things that we know here to be a Scrooge, but we have that diva-esque-ness attached to it. That's a great touch. Now, Kathy Griffin here as the Ghost of Christmas Past, she does a really good job. Kathy Griffin plays Kathy Griffin. She is comical as well as condescending. It plays and bounces really well off of our Ebenezer Scrooge character of Ebony. But the acting here in the past was about to freaking take me out. Like, look at this. Look at this. Will somebody come look at this? Look at this. Like, what? Oh my god, it was just so bad and so comical and so made for TV that it almost just freaking took me out. I found myself laughing. But we do find out that Ebony has this disdain for Christmas because not only is her mother gone, but we also see that her abusive alcoholic father made Christmas something negative. She also associates this time of year with being placed into foster care for a while, being separated from her brother, only to be reunited and have him die. The holidays are not a good time, but she has always been dedicated and a really strong singer. Problem is, her dedication turns into selfishness and the need to be a leader, a star, and she really starts off early just pushing everybody to the side and solely focusing on herself. And that goes for her band members and her dedicated ex-boyfriend slash manager Bob. Bob was a little too loyal in my opinion. His wife was a good one. Bob has a wife and a very sick child by the name of Tim, but he chooses to blindly simp and see the goodness in Ebony even though everybody else doesn't. Even though early on in her career she dumped him to focus on herself. But 10 plus years later we still have Bob making excuses for her. Like, remember what she did back in 85? That was a good year. Like, Bob low-key was in love with Ebony, but we gonna leave that on the ground. He was giving her a little too much loyalty. But outside of, you know, the acting being cringy, I did love when we went back to revisit her ex-band member Terry, just to see that she was borderline of, you know, being homeless once upon a time. She no longer sung, you know, her money had dried up, and she was just like, you know, well, sis should have saved. Like, it takes a minute for her to really wake up to the revelation of what you're doing is wrong, how you're treating people is wrong, and you need to change. Now, with this being Diva's Christmas Carol, I really do think that this movie would have benefited a lot if it was just strictly a musical, because honestly, midway through, like when we're not really focusing on Vanessa Williams and the bitchiness and cattiness of her character, the movie drags and can get a little boring. But what picks it up is when we hear stuff like, just hear those sleigh bells ringling, ring ting tingling too. Ow! Come on, it's lovely weather for a sleigh ride together with you. Giddy up, giddy up, giddy up, let's go. Let's look at the snow. We're riding in a wonderland of wonderland. Giddy up, giddy up, giddy up, it's grand. Just holding your hand. Ow! We're riding along to a song in a Winterland fairyland. See the box? You see the box? You see how the box picked it up? The bops really do help to pick up this movie. I actually did wish that there were a couple of more songs that we could have got, you know, more of a soundtrack vibe. I found myself driven more by the music here, even though we don't have a whole lot of songs, more so than the movie, the writing, and the script. And it's probably because we already know where we're going. We already know what's happening. Not only are we going to get the Ghost of Christmas Past, we're going to get the Ghost of Christmas Present here, who was actually sort of like a rock star, who really drives home what she is missing out on in the present day of Christmas, whether that is time with her niece who loves her to no fault, who is playing, you know, them good old charades, you know, shows her why you really want to be here. Stop looking down on scenarios like, you know, if it ain't about the money, don't be calling me up like, I don't care. Like, there is more to life than that, and you are missing out on things, whether it's, you know, being here or keeping your current staff away from their family, you know, having them in these seedy motels, not paying attention to people who are buzzing in your right ear as far as your business manager over your finances who is currently stealing your money from you. You need to wake up. Or even when we get all the way back down to Tiny Tim and Bob, like, sir, if we married and I tell you your child is sick, like, Tim could have been off the grid like overnight and you ain't even got your ass on a plane because Ebony said so. Absolutely not. But she is just really trying to wake up. Now, all the way to the very end, Ebony is still sticking to her guns, even though she has been visited by the two ghosts, and she has been to the past, she has been to the present. I love when they go to the present and she sees like, oh Lord, I didn't know that Tim was, you know, that sick. Like, oh Lord, I hope he okay. And then when you have Bob roll up, like, I have to go see my family. She's like, you can't walk out on me. Like, what you gonna do for him? You ain't no doctor. Like, oh, she's just pissy. Absolutely terrible. But my favorite thing about this movie is that we take that last ghost, this Ghost of Christmas Future, and it's in the form of a VH1 Behind the Music episode. That was so dope. Like, that brought back so many memories. VH1 Behind the Music and Hollywood True Stories had me on lock back in the day. Like, that was my favorite thing to watch, and it was just so nostalgic just to see that, and just how they played it, just to see like, this is how you're living and you're feeling this type of way, but once you are gone, what is your legacy towards everybody? And being such a cold-hearted bitch, but what is going to be your legacy when you are gone? Not only did you not care about anybody, but you don't even care about your fans who were supporting you and making you who you are. You need to change. I love how we had Nigel Rodgers. Nigel Rodgers was in everybody's goddamn Behind the Music. We have Brian McKnight. It is just such a great thing. I love the theme of her, you know, about to be, you know, sucked into the television, and she's like, oh, it's Celine Dion. Like, oh my God, it is Celine Dion. Like, don't play her. Like, oh, it's Skull and Bones in the bed. It's Celine Dion. Like, I just loved how comical it was and just how it was played. It was my favorite ghost of all three. Now, of course, we end off the movie with the typical Ebenezer Scrooge scenario. Like, I love how in all of these movies, he just wakes up and it's just an overnight epiphany. Merry, 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 Merry Christmas. Happy, happy, happy. Like, it's just all love, sunshine, and rainbows, because I'm not trying to get sucked into that TV. I'm trying to go on and live, honey. I got money to spend and Gucci to wear. Like, God bless America. She's all holy and sanctified, but she just has a new inspiration to really not only live life to the fullest, but really change being the hearted person that she is. Not solely just for Christmas, but just period. She makes things right with her bands, her dancers, her staff. Bob, like, I was a little iffy about Bob answering the phone for her yet again at the airport. Staying there, like, yeah, I got it under control, Bob. Just stay there. I'm gonna fix it. And his ass stay like, you supposed to have your ass on the plane like yesterday. Like, ugh. But he, you know, she flies the family out and it's just all okay. Like, whatever, Bob. Like, Bob, keep your ass away from Ebenezer Scrooge. Get over there. We also have her visit her niece and make everything right there. Like, it's just sunshine, lollipops, and rainbows. Like, it's a good old time. We even have her actually give the benefit concert for charity and donate the money to charity. You know how stuff is supposed to go. She even invites, you know, the ex-band member Terry. It was very much given, you know, there really are 3 dreams. There are 4. You know, Jennifer Hudson came down. It was very, we're your dream girl. It was very, very that. But they have a duet together and we get to see Chilli. I've been watching you, watching me, and I know you want it. No, Scrubs. Scrubs is the guy who thinks it's fly. Like, Chilli came down. Chilli got on all white, feeling golly. She is able to go on and descend because now her homegirl is living her life right. And we even speed, you know, a year ahead and see that this has continued on, and Ebony is changed for the good, for the better, forever, not just for Christmas. Well, you guys, that was my review for A Diva's Christmas Carol. I hope you enjoyed it. This is definitely one of those holiday staples. Like, I'm just not, the cookie cutter, Hallmark, God bless the child, white Christmas movie person. But this, as well as, stuff like the traditional Home Alone, 24 Hours of a Christmas Story, this should be put in there with those films. I don't know when, because as I said, I had to search high and low for it. But if you can find it, please be sure to watch it. If you have seen it, leave a comment about, if I brought up any good old memories and, some nostalgic feels, like did I leave out anything? And if you haven't, go find it, good luck. But you guys leave a comment. I look forward to reading them. Be sure to like and share this video because that helps me out. I see you guys next time. Bye.